What is up, everybody? Happy Friday. It's Chris Muzan here back for another BizBuzz Live. And today we're going to be talking about the job market. Where's all the jobs going? Do you see people getting laid off? Are you having trouble getting hired? We're going to talk about it today. So stick around for another one. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of BizBuzz Live. I'm your host, Chris Muzan, helping you through all things finance. It's Friday, September the 19th. So grateful for everybody that has been paying attention to the show, sending us DMs and messages, asking us questions about what they should be doing and how they should be looking at their income. And so, again, we're super grateful that we get a chance to share this stuff with you. Feel free to always reach out. We're live right now here on LinkedIn and live on YouTube. So drop some comments in the chat. Drop some comments here on the live about the stuff that we're talking about today. And get your questions answered. More than happy to do that. As always, just remember the reason why we started this show is because in the financial space and being in the financial space as a financial coach and helping people through their financial life for over a decade now, it always inevitably comes back to the same conversations. Money is very simple. I always tell people this on a very basic level, on a very foundational level. Money is really, really simple. So no matter what your circumstance looks like, or kind of what questions you have, whether you come to us looking at how to grow your investments, or whether you're looking at getting out of debt, or just boosting your savings, or getting your insurance protection, or whatever the case is as to the reason why you would sit down with a financial professional, getting life insurance. It's Life Insurance Awareness Month, by the way. Inevitably, the conversation comes back to, how are we making money? Like, what's coming in, what's going out? Inevitably, the conversation has to come back to that. Everything in your life flows from your cash flow. If you have more discretionary income, you can do more things. That's as basic as you can break it down. If every month you maybe only have an extra couple $100 left over, you maybe got a couple $1,000 left over. If that's all you got, it's going to be really hard to navigate life long term. You're going to have emergencies. There's going to be more expenses. Things going to keep going up. Cost of living keeps going up. And so those margins keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And so when we have these conversations, we need to come back to what's coming in and what's going out. Again, in the financial space, I think we've done a really good job of talking about what's going out. We've done a really good job at talking about how to budget, how to track your money, how to make sure that, every banking app now, every single banking app has some form of pie chart to tell you where all your spending went, right? Because they understand how important it is for people to understand where their money's going. Now, I don't know if you look at that in your banking app. I don't know when you log on to your online banking, you're actually looking at or how detailed it is through your banking app or through your credit card app or whatever it is. I don't know how detailed that is. But at least it's there for you because people pay attention to that type of stuff. What I don't think we do a really good job of is having conversations about how to make money, how to earn the money, how it comes in what ways. Not everyone wants to have a job. Not everyone wants to start a business. Not everyone, there's no one size fits all for all of these areas of money. I say this with financial products. There's no one size fits all. As you grow, as you have different assets, as you have different needs, you will need different financial products down the line. There's a group of people that benefit from 401ks or IRAs. There's a group of people that don't, on both sides, right? These are meant for middle America. When you get above upper middle class, right? Like wealthy, you start getting rich. That 401k is not going to help you. You can only put away $22,000 a year. Right? It's not meant for them. It's also not meant for somebody that's only making $30,000 a year and can only put away $100 a month. It's not meant for them either. You got to know who it's meant for. There's no one financial product that's good for everybody. Same thing when it comes to earning money. There's no one way that everyone should earn money. Everyone has to decide what is their means of earning money. In 2025, there's all different types of ways to earn money. Most of it will require your thinking or your upskilling, right? Your ability to change your skill set or just your ability to think differently. But regardless, there's tons of ways to make money. Tons of ways. You just got to figure out your way. So we come on the show to have a conversation about what's happening out there. What's happening? Sure, we can talk about some of the opportunities and some of the things that, you might be looking at to move into, but I also want to bring reality to some people that maybe don't understand what's happening out there. They don't understand that there's many ways. They don't understand that, like our current conversation we're about to have today, they don't understand how bad the job market is. They're still pointing their kids to go to college and get a job. For some, that might work. For most, it might not. So why are you still pointing them in that direction? Is it because it's what you know? Is it because it's what you feel comfortable with and you just don't know any other way? So you can only give what you know? Most likely. That's why I'm here, is to tell you that there's some other ways you can do this. But you got to be aware of what's happening right now. I want to share something with you really quickly as we dive into today's conversation. I got a short clip of a video. I don't think YouTube should take this down, right? You should. I mean, it comes from YouTube, right? It comes from YouTube, so I don't think it should take it down. Listen to this for 1 minute about what's happening. This is a CNBC. This is a CNBC video. And I just want you to hear the introduction to this.
It's getting harder to find work in the United States. In August, businesses added just 22,000 new jobs.
That's actually quite a weak number. Looking at that in isolation, that would actually be a lot more consistent with the start of a recession, historically.
Gone are the days of 200,000 jobs every month. We're likely to be in an environment where job growth is hovering around zero, essentially.
The U.S. labor market is worse than previously thought. Less than half of the people polled by the New York Fed say they could find a new job if they lost their current one.
Downside risks to employment are rising. And if those risks materialize, they can do so quickly in the form of sharply higher layoffs and rising unemployment.
The Federal Reserve can give businesses more confidence to hire workers by adjusting the federal funds rate. The Fed is lowering this key interest rate as companies navigate changes on trade, immigration, and inflation.
Companies are holding back because they're both trying to see what the tariffs will be, what the effect of the tariffs will be. And inside of that is what happens to their profit margins.
They're willing to deal with the uncertainty, but they need to react to that. And
Right.
So part of that is just being very prudent in how they're hiring.
Why are jobs disappearing? And can the Fed do anything to bring them back?
That's the question, y'all. Why are jobs disappearing? Why are jobs disappearing? Why, some of the things you heard in there, why are we in such a bad economy that people can't get hired? That stat that was on there that said less than half, 45% of people believe that if they got laid off or quit their job, that they could find another job. That means the majority of people that are working, if they left their job, don't believe they can get another job. There's no opportunity out there for people when it comes to the job market. And why? Well, in that video, they give some other examples of why this stuff is happening. They give some other examples of, tariffs and all types of different things, political on that side. But how does this impact you? Right? How does this impact your life? How does this impact what you're choosing for your children, your adult children, not just your young children, but your adult children, your 23, 25-year-olds, your 28-year-olds, your Gen Zers? Like, how is this impacting them? This is why we have to have the conversation, because it's not 25 years ago, 30 where there's all this booming job market. They're saying like people are not hiring. They're saying this isn't working the way people think. I'll give you another last video before we dive into kind of what are some of these industries that we should be looking at. But this is Fed Chair Jerome Powell being asked a question about Gen Z having a hard time finding jobs.
Are you about the slowdown in the jobs market for households at home, especially younger Americans struggling to land a job?
So
She asked, how concerned are you? How concerned are you about younger millennial Gen Zers not being able to find a job? Here's his answer.
interesting labor market, and obviously we think it's appropriate that we reduce our rates so that we become more neutral, which presumably will be better for the labor market. You see people who are sort of more at the margins, so kids coming out of college and younger people, minorities, are having a hard time finding jobs. The overall,
I heard just what he just said. Who are these people that, like, he understands what's happening in the labor market, and he's telling us people that are at the margins. He said minorities, black and brown people, immigrants, kids coming out of college, young people, our future, are struggling to find jobs, right? Like that, he knows this. So don't be surprised. Don't be surprised when you send your child to college and then they come home and have to live with you and work a low wage, job. Don't be surprised that that's what's happening, because they're telling you this stuff. All right.
job finding rate is very, very low. However, the layoff rate is also very low.
Again, I'm stopping this. He said the overall job finding rate is very low. Like, he knows. So if you're seeing this stuff, or it's kind of in your psyche because you're watching it on TikTok or somewhere else, or you're here live on LinkedIn and YouTube and you're paying attention to what's happening, like, they know that people are not hiring. It's really hard to find a job.
So you've got a low firing, low hiring environment. And the concern is that if you start to see layoffs, the people who are laid off there won't be a lot of hiring going on. So that could very quickly flow into higher unemployment. In a healthier economy, healthier labor market, there would be jobs for those people. But now the hiring rate is very, very low. So that's been a growing concern over the last few months. And it's one of the reasons why we think it's appropriate that we begin to shift our policy.
So again, want y'all to hear, this is Fed Chair Jerome Powell telling you, there ain't no jobs out here. There ain't no jobs out here, y'all. Like, especially for younger people, especially for Gen Z, especially for there's no jobs. And they're scared to start firing people, because if they start firing people, they're not going to be able to go get jobs again. And then you have a higher unemployment rate. Then the government has to take the brunt of subsidizing, right? Like making sure that people have money, health insurance, all the stuff. Like he said, if it were a healthier economy, which means our economy is not healthy, like there might be some solutions. But we got to understand, y'all, that this might not be the time to point Gen Z and alphas and all of them into going to college and getting a job. It's probably not going to work. You heard some people on the video before say, like, we're at like zero job growth. Like, people aren't producing jobs. Again, why? Because of our economy. Big businesses, corporations run off of borrowing money. And so when money tightens up and they can't borrow as much money because rates are really high and it doesn't make sense, then they can't keep hiring people. There's no money to do so. And I know someone out there is like, they make billions of dollars. Yeah, yes and no. They owe billions of dollars, right? The bigger you get, it's not all profit. They owe big businesses have big bills. So they need to figure out ways to lower those bills. If they can't get more money, Labor is one of those things that they can't continue to pay for. All that being said, y'all, all that being said, what do you do? LinkedIn, what do you do? YouTube? If you're watching this, you don't want to get into the job market, or you do want to get into the job market, where should you go? Right? Where are the jobs growing and where are they disappearing? In that same video, the CNBC video, they mentioned a couple things. Okay. They mentioned a couple areas. The industries that are going down right now, where they're under pressure, they're not hiring, they have too much labor, so they're probably going to start laying off. What the video mentioned is a couple areas. Number one, technology and information, the IT side, the tech space, the high-paying information sector is flashing warning signs. That's what it said in the video. That it said software developer roles for workers in their 20s are down sharply since 2022, since 3 years ago. So you got to understand, the technology sector is going to get taken over specifically by AI, right? It's going to get by machine learning, artificial intelligence is going to get taken over. So they're going to need less humans. That industry is under pressure right now. So that this might not be the time to get a technology degree. Might be time to learn some AI and how to prompt well and all the things. So maybe you can find your way in. But just know the tech space, like it was 10 years ago, like it was 15 years ago, like the boom of tech is no longer. Another industry that it mentions inside of that video is the finance space. Now, I happen to work in a certain sector of the finance space. It's not the finance space that they're talking about. They're talking about the Morgan Stanley, Charles Schwab, Wall Street, right? Hedge fund traders, like that side of finance, the big firms, right? The BlackRocks, all the big firms that typically hire a lot of people. Well, that space is under more pressure now. Why? Because they don't need as much. Maybe they're not making as much. Again, this is why when it costs money to borrow all this money, you can't keep hiring and having labor issues. So that's another industry you might not want to look at. You might not want to look at tech. I know what you thought 10 years ago. You might not want to look at finance. I know what you thought 10 years ago. Here's another one. It says in the video, professional and business services. Professional and business services. What are professional and business services? These sectors include fields like accounting, law, consulting, IT, engineering, marketing, all characterized by their reliance on highly skilled labor and the sale of intangible knowledge-based services to help businesses operate more efficiently, manage risk, and get to their goals. Professional and business services, again, taken over by AI, taken over by computers. Yes, I know you believe that having an accounting degree and being an accountant is going to be great in the future. But if you're not adapting technology, the menial task, a computer can do my taxes typically, if programmed right, will do my taxes better than a human without the human error. So what'll happen? Programmed properly, a computer, right? Artificial intelligence, computer learning will understand the law more than a lawyer. So what'll happen, right? Because once you feed it all the information, it'll keep it. It's smarter than a human. That's why these jobs are disappearing. That's why these jobs specifically are under pressure. It also goes into talking about manufacturing, construction, trade and transportation, marketing and sales management. All of these are industries that are having trouble. They're all having trouble hiring people. They're having trouble maintaining people. They're having trouble. These are industries on the decline. Technology, finance, professional and business services, manufacturing, construction, marketing and sales management, like all of these types of industries. But they also in the video gave a couple industries that are on the upswing, that are more resilient, that aren't under as much pressure. Would you like to know what those are? You should drop something in the chat if you want to know what they are. No, I'm going to tell you anyway, because I don't have a lot of time with you today. But let me give them to you. There were 3 areas: healthcare, leisure and hospitality, and retail. Younger workers, Gen Z, people coming out of college are finding more success getting hired at a job. If a job is what you want to do, finding more success being hired in healthcare. So anything in the healthcare space, see a boom in nurses, a boom in, techs and physician assistants and all the healthcare side of things. Okay. You're seeing that it's a fast pace, it's a resilient, like a lot of people need it. And so young people are finding some growth in that area. The second area, leisure and hospitality. Resilience in the healthcare space and in the leisure and hospitality space. These 2 sectors are typically upholding the labor market. What is this? Leisure. This is your entertainment. These are your hospitality, your restaurants. These are your hotels. These are the types of businesses that are holding up the market. People are still spending money in some of these areas. They don't know we're in a recession. So they're still spending money in these areas. But that means that they need growth. That means they need people. That means that they're likely to get hired. Your local restaurant is looking for staff. In my city, when I drive around, like almost every restaurant, service-based retail space is hiring. I don't think that's a fluke. I don't think these are the jobs that people are talking about. The problem is we sold people on a dream. We sold some millennials. We sold some Gen Zs. We sold some Gen Alphas on a dream of go to school, get good grades, get a good job. And that job's going to pay for your life. And now you got out of college and you got that degree, and the only job you can go get is at a retail store. It's almost like it's not lining up for you. You're like, I can't be doing this. I just got a degree in this. I know people with a PhD that drive Uber. I know people with master's degrees that drive Uber. Like, something's off, right? Something's off. If you went through all that schooling and paid all that money to become an expert, to get a piece of paper that says I'm an expert, and you got to drive Uber, something's off. But it's continuing to happen. But these are the industries that are growing. Healthcare is growing. Healthcare is resilient. They need more people. I have a feeling they have a lot of turnover. A lot of people quit, but like that's why they're hiring. Leisure, the leisure and hospitality side, working at a hotel, working in some type of place that is service-based. And then retail. As much as I've talked about retail on this show, you go back 6 months, a year, right? I've been talking about retail being a declining industry, being an industry that this wouldn't be the place to be. Well, this jobs report, this labor market is saying something different. It's saying young people are getting hired at retail. Now, I don't know if that means that the retail industry is booming. I don't know, if your local retail store is making a lot of money and is very profitable, but they for sure are hiring. So again, if you want to get a job, if this is the path you want to go to earn money, you got to understand what industries you should be thinking about in 2025, not what industries you should have been thinking about in 2020 or 2018 or 2015 or 2022, right? Like now, 2025. If you want to go get a job, the industries that are growing, according to the labor report, the jobs report, things that are holding up our economy: retail, leisure and hospitality, and healthcare. You're a Gen Z listening to this, you should pay attention to those 3 industries if you want to make money at a job. You guys know, you've been hearing me say this for years. You don't have to have a job to make it. You don't have to have a job. Some of you, that's what you believe you want to do. Go for it. Go for it. And yes, you should have a job to pay your bills and to live. But we live in 2025. You can create anything you want. If you are creative, if you use your brain to think and not to memorize, if you use it to ideate, to think, you can create anything you want. It's never been easier to start a business. It's never been easier. I was just telling somebody this. Yeah, I was sitting down with one of my coaching clients and someone I hadn't talked to in a little bit, and we kind of got back reconnected. And I started helping her through kind of this transition. She had gotten fired, and I was, telling her like, hey, like it's important like to know that like that firing was a blessing for you, because now it points you on your path of kind of what this looks like. I was like, better to get fired at a young age than get fired at an old age and then have to redesign your life. But I was literally saying this like in 2025, the current time of recording this, September 19th, 2025, into 2026, there is zero excuse for you not being able to build the thing that you want. If you are not building the thing you want, it is one of two reasons. You are willfully ignorant or you're lazy. I'll say that again. It's going to hurt some people's feelings, but it's okay. If in 2025, you are not building the thing that you want to do, you are not actively creating the thing that you want to do for work, the way you want to serve the world, you are ignorant, just like you just don't know. And that's okay. You don't know what you don't know. Question is, do you seek knowledge? Do you seek information? Like, do you seek it? Because if not, it's okay. Or you're just lazy. You're just lazy. You have everything at your fingertips. The internet is getting faster. AI and technology is getting faster. It just requires you to execute. You have to execute. You can use it to give you the plan, and then you have to execute on the plan. If you don't execute, that's just a form of laziness. Outside of that, it's just you just not knowing any better. So again, this is for people that want to build something. Like you're like, oh man, I wish I could, whatever that is. Oh man, I wish I had, oh man, I wish I was able to blah. Like whatever those things are that you say, if that's you, because if that's not you, that's okay, right? That's why we had this conversation about jobs today. Because if you don't have a desire to build anything, if you like your life where it is, you can live your life. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. All right, live your life the way you want to. It's perfectly fine. But if you are a person that wants more, that is ambitious, that wants to grow, that wants to get better, you want to make $1 million, like whatever your things are, you want to secure your family's financial future forever, and you know you have to go build something in order to do it. You got to go start a business to do it. You got to go serve people. You got to find your niche. You got to like whatever you know that's you, and you're not actively doing it. It's either you just don't know. You don't know what to do. You don't know where to go. You don't know the resources. You don't know who to talk to. You don't know what to read. You're just willfully ignorant. Because like I said, the internet can make us all not ignorant. And if you just are curious enough, just ask the internet a question. You can't believe everything you see, but you can have some resources. You can get around some other people that can help point you in the right direction. So you're just ignorant about it, or you're just lazy. You just really don't want to do the work. You're just like, yeah, sure, but I don't want to really do that. Outside of that, there's zero excuse. If you want to go build the life of your dreams, you want to go make all the money that you need to, because that's what this conversation's about here on BizBuzz Live. The conversations on BizBuzz Live are about you making more income. 3 stages to money. You have to earn it, then you have to save it, then you have to invest it. You have to learn how to earn money. You have to be able to take your income from where it is now to wherever you want it to go if you want things to change, if you want to save more, if you want to invest more, if you want to get out of debt faster, if you want to build more wealth, if you need more assets, if you want to build your net worth. Like, you're going to need more cash flow. You're going to need more access to money. So if you're not there yet, if your savings isn't where you want it to be, if your retirement isn't where you want it to be, if you're still in debt, If you don't have all the things then we should be focused on how are we earning money? How are we earning money? And if you can change how you're earning money and you can think differently about it, you have the ability to get to where you want to go financially. Today, I showed you how the job market is declining. The job market is not in a good spot. It's not. You heard it from Fed Chair. It's not in a good spot. You heard it from CNBC, right? Gave you the industries that are declining: tech, finance, the manufacturing, the construction, all those areas, the professional and business services. They're all declining because they're getting taken over by automation. There's slim margins. Money is not cheap anymore. All these reasons. Then I gave you a couple reasons why, or a couple industries that you might want to pay attention to, especially if you're younger. I mean, if you're older, you can capitalize on it too. You just might have to humble yourself to go from your cushy office $80,000 a year job, $90,000 a year job, to working in retail, to building something in retail, to finding a store that you can take part ownership in and grow that out, hire the right people. Or if you're just a young person and you just need a job, those are healthcare, leisure, and hospitality and retail are industries you should pay attention to. You can get many jobs there. You can build a life there. Okay. So again, I'm glad you stick around on BizBuzz. The reason why we do this, LinkedIn and YouTube, is to talk about how we're going to go earn money so you can build this financial foundation for you and your family. I'll see you guys back here next Friday. I think, yep. I'll see you guys back here next Friday, where we'll dive into some more conversation around what's happening out here in this labor market. All right. Until next time, y'all. Peace.